I had Crohn's disease probably from the time I was 15 years old. And at that time, it was fairly new. They called it, irritable bowel. Very often they said it was a high-strung child with, or a nervous child, and never really thought of it as a disease of the intestine. So for many years, I just suffered with it, and it could, from moderate to severe pain and lots of diarrhea. And then when I was 19 years old, I was in the hospital with severe abdominal pain, distension, and they decided that they would just have a look. So surgeon opened me and saw this inflamed small intestine, didn't know what to do with it, so removed the appendix and closed me back up. And so they said that I had a Crohn's disease, or ileitis. At that time they called it ileitis. Dr. Crohn, I believe, was still alive. And I had multiple resections of the small bowel, at least 3 or 4. And I had half of my colon removed, normal colon. But they felt that was the treatment in those days. So here I was with half a colon, normal colon removed, and each time chopping away at my small intestine, making it shorter and shorter. And when you do that, you have absorption problems as well. Even if you would eat a normal diet and have terrible diarrhea, you still couldn't maintain your vitamins and minerals because that's where it's absorbed, is in the small intestine. I married and had 3 children. That was very difficult for me, especially after the deliveries. I would have lots of severe abdominal pain and be very uncomfortable. And I managed the best that I could. And like I said, there were intervals and times where I was fairly normal. And when I say fairly normal, I mean whenever I would go to a theater or a play, the first thing I would do would be check to see where the restrooms were, because I knew that there would be a very strong possibility at the middle of the dinner or the play or whatever, I might have to make it to the restroom. And there were times when I didn't make it to the restroom. And that's quite humiliating, and I don't know how many other people have gone through that. Also, in the middle of the night, when you're sound asleep, especially if you have a young family and you're exhausted at night, I would mess my bed. And so all of these are so indignities that you have to go through. I don't know how to describe them, but they're painful. And you never accept them. They're just, they're painful. Lived in Pittsburgh when we were first married, and there was a VIP specialist, Dr. Bacchus in Boston. We flew out there, and they sent me to psychiatrist, and all the talking in the world certainly didn't change anything. And then they put me off and on cortisone, which affected me just in the worst way. I would, not only would I put on tremendous weight, but mentally I would kind of go, rooms would spin. I couldn't be alone with the children. It was frightening. It was just, I felt like I was in someone else's body. I mean, this just went on. I felt this was going to be the rest of my life. Naturally, I tried not to have surgery, but when you have a complete obstruction and they put the tube down for weeks and it doesn't open, you have to have surgery to open up that small bowel because you can't live that way. Then one day, after going through many years of torture, we had a very, very good friend suggest that I become a vegan, that he had read that the vegan diet really helped people with gastrointestinal problems. He even offered to take us to Dr. McDougall's 10-day program. And after talking to him many times, I figured, what do I have to lose? I mean, what do I have to lose? I've never tried a vegan diet. In fact, every time I would have an episode, all these gastroenterologists would put me on cottage cheese, sour cream, baked potato, you know, all these bland foods and you know, I'd have milk and all these things that would make me more and more distended and more gassy. So instead of helping me in my time of real pain, it got worse. It was very depressing. So when our friend Jack Forrest said, try this, I said I wanted to. My husband didn't have much faith in it, but you know, you're desperate. So we flew here to Santa Rosa, and I went on the program. I was on it a little bit before we came, but I didn't really understand it. I really, really didn't understand it. And by golly, it was like a miracle. In a very short period of time, I started noticing that I didn't have a big tummy. I really didn't. It was getting flatter and flatter. As far as weight went, only when I was really, really sick on a lot of cortisone would I put on weight. But in between those times, weight was not a problem for me. So that wasn't my goal. My goal really was to see if I could have somewhat, I certainly didn't expect a complete, but somewhat of a normal life. And we spent the 10 days here, and the longer that we were here, the better I felt. My blood pressure was definitely going down. My cholesterol went down, and I was eating so much food. I mean, I couldn't believe how much food I was eating here. And I slept through the night. I didn't have to go to the John. I was fine. And in the 10-day program, believe it or not, I started really feeling better. This has been, I think, I don't know exactly, at least 5 or 6 years ago. And I've been a really good vegan all that time. And my life has been marvelous. I am 76 years old. I had my birthday in September. And the last 5 years have been a dream. I've traveled, I don't care where the bathrooms are, anywhere. I am like a normal person. I usually go once a day, and it's normal. I've cut almost totally back. I take no cholesterol medicine, and my cholesterol is 142. I don't take any other vitamins or minerals, and my blood panels are absolutely wonderful. I get them taken twice a year. I see the cardiologist once a year, and I have to tell you, compared to my friends that are in my age group, I can outwalk them. I can stay up later. I have lots of energy. I'm up early in the morning. I'm at the beach usually by 7 o'clock and walk an hour or so. And life is really good. I mean, I can't tell you. I don't feel like a ill person with a handicap anymore. You have no idea what that feels like, especially when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s. So I had to wait till I was in my 60s to know how good life is and how it feels to feel good every day. And I'm very grateful for Dr. McDougall and Mary. And I've turned into a pretty good vegan cook. I think my brownies, I don't know if we should tell Mary this, are better than Mary's brownies. I would say to them, what do you have to lose? I mean, give it 10 days, that's all. 10 days of no dairy, no meat, you know, any of that, just 10 days. Eat as much as you want, never be hungry, snack in between. And after 10 days, if you're not thoroughly convinced, then I give up. I have to tell you that we were at a dinner party, and there was an elderly man by the name, well, maybe I shouldn't mention his name, but he started saying he can't do anything because he has colitis, and that he can't go anywhere because all morning he's in the bathroom and at night he's in the bathroom. And so I sat next to him and I talked to him for quite a while. I sent him some of Dr. McDougall's newsletters, and he's a bachelor, he's a widow, his wife passed away, and I tried to help him, and he is now 80 and he is dating, and he wants to travel. He couldn't travel before, and he wanted to come on the trip with me this time up to Santa Rosa, but his girlfriend had some pneumonia and didn't think flying would be good. And he keeps saying, Sondra, how can I thank you? How can I thank you? And I said, Bob, by being well, it's such a pleasure to see you out and looking well and feeling well. I mean, he would never talk. We'd be at dinners and he just felt so awful he didn't talk. Now he's joking and cracking jokes and talking, and his life's just turned around, and that's exactly how I feel. And that's just one person recently that happened. A lot of people that I would tell them about this will say, oh, I couldn't, you're so rigid, you're so good, I couldn't do that. Well, all I can say is, if you want to feel good and have a happy life, missing steak and chicken is the least of your worries. I mean, really, when you think about it, if you're eating good food that you really like and isn't hard to prepare, it doesn't take that long, and you feel, I mean, you feel great. Pills aren't it's covering it up. You're not feeling, you're just covering it up. It's a placebo, it's not working. This diet works. I promise you it works.